With rent rising, one local nonprofit says many renters can't keep up. We've heard this many times. Jesse Tree is seeing an increase in eviction court hearings.
While these numbers have been going up the past few years, they've really seen a spike over the last couple of weeks. Abby Davis talked to Jesse Tree about this trend, and sky-high rent is only one of the reasons that this trend is happening, right, Abby?
Right. Well, we're also approaching something called housing fiscal cliff, which that's what the housing experts here in the Treasure Valley are saying. So I talked to Jesse Tree earlier today, and the executive director told me many people are experiencing evictions for the very first time in their lives. And with limited federal funds, many more people might soon be in trouble. But Jesse Tree wants people to know they're not alone and that there's still help available.
Okay, let's do that.
Fighting the housing crisis in the Treasure Valley
It's been really hard.
takes a team like the one at Jesse Tree, a local nonprofit working to keep people facing eviction in their homes. But lately, more people in Ada and Canyon counties need help.
People just aren't able to access affordable housing.
Jesse Tree data shows 136 eviction court hearings in January of 2023. Program manager Morgan DeCarl says that's more than double the number of hearings in January of 2022.
Currently, we're seeing landlords evicting tenants after only 1 month of past due rent, or even just the current month past due rent. Last year, we were seeing numbers that were 3, 4, up to 6 months past due.
That's because during COVID, there were more programs available for renters. DeCarl says that decrease in flexibility plays a big role in increased eviction rates. Just on Tuesday, there were 22 eviction court hearings in Ada County and 13 in Canyon County. To put those numbers into perspective, take a look at this graph right here. This shows the number of weekly eviction hearings over the last year in Canyon and Ada counties. This green is Canyon County, the blue represents Ada County. So over here, January and February of 2022, you can see where we were at numbers-wise for eviction hearings. It goes up and down for a while, but then right here in December and January 2023, it's really a steep uptick in those eviction hearings. And I'm told that that will continue, especially now that we are running out of federal COVID-19 funding.
A lot of families have maxed out of their funding. They are no longer able to access more, so landlords are filing sooner rather than later for eviction.
You know, also just the last couple of years, rent has increased by 40% and wages have not, and more people are living paycheck to paycheck and just struggling.
Jesse Tree Executive Director Allie Robbie encourages struggling families reach out to their landlord. She says 1/3 of renters who go through Jesse Tree haven't started that conversation.
Tenants can just talk to their landlord when they can't pay their rent and explain the situation, contact Jesse Tree, maybe even set up a payment plan with their landlord. Then they can avoid court entirely and save everybody time and money.
The gut instinct to do is to just kind of like hide from the situation. And the best thing to do is to reach out and communicate as early as possible.
Can call Jesse Tree's Tenant Resource Center for rental help. They can also apply for assistance online. But even if you aren't struggling to pay rent, there are still ways to help. DeCarl says they're always looking for volunteers to field phone calls.
So Abby, you mentioned this COVID assistance. When do they expect this to kind of go away completely?
Well, it really just depends on where you live, but Boise City, Ada County housing authorities, they told me sometime in the spring, but it's really just a moving timeline right now.
That's going to be a huge story when that happens.
Yes.
Abby, I know you'll stay on top of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Abby.